So I used to think I just needed better videos, sharper edits, tighter hooks, better thumbnails. But the problem wasn't the videos, it was the freaking niche. I was a year into chasing sponsors full time. My toddler was absolutely melting down in the background. My camera battery died mid-shoot. And I remember whispering to myself, this is so hard. This is so hard. I hate this. I hate this. Literally like a psychopath talking to myself. I realized at that moment, probably 5 or 6 years ago, that I built something that works technically, but it was not right for my values or my lifestyle. And so I was making money, but it was very chaotic. It was unscalable. It depended too much on sponsors and way too much of my time away from my little kids. I had no clear offer, no authority in one specific space. In order for me to scale my income, I had to go viral more times. And so I was going viral in all these different niches, but only some of the times, most of the time, my views fell flat. I honestly contemplated after my husband had quit his 6-figure-a-year job, maybe we just go back to the 8-to-5 life and use our college degrees. Maybe we were not cut out for this online business entrepreneur life. Like this was taking more from me than it was giving my family. And so in today's video, I'm basically going to detail exactly how I broke out of that time in my life and how I then started discovering this 100K / now it's $1 million niche, and how you can analyze your own niche to discover not only the potential for virality, but most importantly, if you have a lot of little kids, I have 4, almost 5 kids. I'm pregnant with my 5th right now, the potential of it turning into an actual business. And so for me personally, adjusting my niche changed everything about my life. It changed how fast I was going viral, how fast I could scale the income or the revenue streams in my business. And it went like this. Before I switched everything, I was making around 20 grand a month. 80% of that was through sponsorships, the rest through affiliates and pennies and AdSense, to be honest. And I was working around 40 to 50 hours a week. Every time I turned the camera on and it went beep, my toddler would scream, ah, she was 2 years old at the time, because she did not want to see her mommy working all the time. I was becoming like those psycho influencer moms, which, like, no shade, because we all have to go through different seasons of life, and I definitely regret certain things I've done, but I was trapped like a rat because I had already had my husband quit his full-time job because this was easy money, right? And so that was the first level of business for me. The second and way more freeing way, based off of the niche, which we're going to get to, is now I work 1 day a week. And between my husband and I, we work part-time hours. We grew a 7-figure business, and we actually did that after adjusting our niche in under 18 months. And so in today's video, we're basically going to uncover how exactly the niche that you choose determines how much money you make in your business, how fast you grow on YouTube, and how sustainable this is realistically for your specific lifestyle. If you guys are new here, my name is Haley, and I basically teach new, established, up-and-coming content creators how to leverage YouTube to sell your own digital assets or products so that you are not a slave to the YouTube algorithm and you can scale a business without having to work more hours. And so if that interests you, subscribe down below, and let's go ahead and start by talking about this anti-niche so many gurus are focused on right now. So I am what you would like to probably say anti-niche. And so if you guys see anyone online talking about like, you are your own niche, you know, there's no such thing as choosing a niche. That is outdated advice. Maybe it is, and maybe I'm old, okay? Now I'm dating myself. I'm 33 years old, but I truly feel like I see business or picking a niche or YouTube, just my frame of reference is more logical because I have a herd of kids to feed and I have to think more business minded versus less about how much I like something and how much passion this gives me. Because if you look at people that say they are anti-niche, and if you analyze all their viral videos, they all have a common theme. They all have a common pattern, and they leveraged a niche to get to where they are. So that now they can say I'm anti-niche because they could talk about their foot and still get views, but they didn't always start talking about whatever they wanted. They started with a niche almost 100% of the time. And I know this because I started sharing everything I was learning as a new mom, okay? On my main channel, I talked about breastfeeding, right? That's a niche in of itself. Co-sleeping or attachment parenting, which I roll my eyes at 8 years later, but baby wearing, you know, it was like a natural extension of my life. It was almost like I was the niche, right? And And in the beginning, it worked. But when we did this full time, like literally as a family, after my husband quit, this niche started to become a trap. This passion-led niche that I was going into, talking about whatever I felt called to talk about, my journey, right? It was basically a race to get views because that is how I set up my channel. And the fact that since I was chasing video topics that were going viral, I became known for a multitude of things because I initially started out just wanting to talk about my passion. If you are really passionate about 10 different things and your channel is all over the place because you are multifaceted and you're fearful of basically pigeonholing yourself to talk about the same dang thing over and over and over, which I understand now feels like a job, right? You don't want to leave your job to like go do another job. But in the end, that is what you should do if you want to turn this into a legit, scalable 6 or 7 figure business, is that you're creating another job for yourself. I know new creators don't want to admit that, but it is the cold hard truth, because if you start talking about whatever you want, people know you for a lot of different things. And if the way that you get paid is through sponsorships alone, which is really your best bet in that scenario, you have to get more views, which means in order to do that, you have to trade more of your time to either make more videos or to get better at your skill set to go viral with the ones that you're already producing. But you have to know that the problem isn't you and your passions or you in general. It is the model that you are inevitably going after as far as like the income stream. So many creators get burnt out, not because they're tired of their niche or they're tired of creating content. It's because the only way they can scale this business is by chasing views and getting more viral hits or getting more sponsors that will pay them more money, right? The only way that they can make more money is to trade more of their time for these views or for these sponsorships. But basically, the real shift came when I asked myself this question, and I wrote it down for you guys. You should write it down too. So I don't ask myself, like, what am I passionate about? I ask myself, what are my values and what makes the most amount of money with the least amount of time? Because that is based off of my values, which is I want to primarily be a homemaker and not this career woman. What do you want your life to look like hour by hour? I started asking myself, what if I was forced to work only 1/2 day a week? Like if I wanted to make the same amount of money that I was making before, which was around 20K a month, how would this be possible? What niche allows for that? What types of YouTube videos allows for that? And what income streams, really the most important thing is the income stream. What allows for me to make this type of money, replace my income with the model that I was going into? And so that absolutely changed everything. Suddenly my niche now had to support that type of constraint. So many creators, myself included, start out on YouTube and they're like, well, I'm multi-passionate. Like I said, multifaceted person. I don't just like one thing. I like a bunch of things. And I don't want to be, pigeonholed into one thing that maybe I'll resent because I talk about it too much. I'll run out of ideas. Like there's a million different limiting beliefs as to why you shouldn't niche down. But in the end, you'll make more money. You will not burn out and you'll have a sustainable business that grows without you having to be a slave to the algorithm. And so what they're actually really saying is, I'm afraid to commit. I'm afraid to have this feel like a job. I just want to make money talking about whatever I want in any way that I want because I already worked for however many years at my job. I resent it. I hate it. My boss is soul sucking and I don't want to duplicate something like that again. And the kicker is not choosing a clear niche means never building authority that actually earns real income. So that's why I chose a niche that really supports digital products, courses, coaching programs that I don't have to chase sponsors. I don't have to go viral. I was able to now build something that compounds even when I'm not on camera. And I talk about in detail exactly how I'm able to work 1 day a week while growing this business based off of this new niche that I've chosen in a free masterclass. It's about 1.5 hours. It's very in-depth and it's down below when you guys have a chance. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about a very simple way to find out what a profitable or non-profitable niche is, which niches allow for more of your time, which niches soul suck the time from you and your family and the relationships in your life, okay? And so it's an exercise I have all my students do. And so you don't even need a pen and paper. I have a free downloadable at the link at the top of this video, and I'll pin it in the comments if I can remember. And basically you can fill it all out. We did all the work for you. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make a list of your top 5 or 10 interests or topic ideas. Okay. And you're going to start ranking these, or not ranking, I guess, rating them using these questions. The first one is, how much of an expert are you in this? All right. Let's say you have accounting on there because you were an accountant or bookkeeper or whatever for 10 years, but you hate it, but you're really good at it. Okay. You're a really good bookkeeper. You can do anyone's books, whatever that means. Clearly I'm not in the industry. And so it's 10 out of 10, 10 being the highest expert level and 1 being the lowest expert level. So another one you could put on there is gardening, right? You're not that good, but you grow, zucchini, squash, but you're not like fully sustainable. You're not eating all your food like a professional homesteader. And so maybe you're like a 5 on the scale for gardening. So the second question you want to answer for all of these interests or topic ideas, the things that you're either good at, things that you are passionate about, is how passionate are you about it right now? So this is not in theory, but literally in your actual everyday life. So for instance, one of mine on the list would be a topic of interest. So for me, homeschooling. So how passionate I am, 11 out of 10. Don't put 11, okay, because it'll mess up the whole system we have going here, but it's 10 out of 10. So I would put 10. Now, how much of an expert am I in homeschooling? I have an 8-year-old. She's my oldest child. And I have an almost 2-year-old. So I have 4 kids, age 8 and under. I'm not an expert. I haven't been doing this like one of my students for 18 years. So I would probably put a 2. Like, I hope I'm not a 2 because I'm supposed to be an educator, but maybe a 2, maybe a 3. I don't know how expert level. That's subjective, but that is how passionate I am. It's 10. Okay. The third question is this is so important. They're all very important. Okay. But this one, you have to spend more time on this one. All right. How are the top creators in this space making money? Now, this is where you have to spend hopefully an hour or 2, maybe a full week. If you have no idea, really doing competitor research, getting an Excel spreadsheet out and linking like YouTube channel after YouTube channel and all of these different niches that you're going in between and analyzing their funnels or lack thereof. Do they do mostly sponsorships? Is it like Patreon that they're making money from? Is it courses? Do they do one-to-one sales calls? Like, how are people making money? And get a really large sample size, as much as you have time for. If I had looked back, 10-ish years ago when I went into the motherhood niche, how people are making money, I wouldn't have known digital products because it wasn't a thing really back then, but I would have seen sponsorships and asked myself, is that what I want to scale? How logically could I scale that revenue? Can I do it without more of my time? No. So I probably wouldn't have gone into that. And asking myself, like, how much money can you make in these niches? Luckily, we have AI to ask these questions. So honestly, you can do competitive research, but use AI. Seriously. All right. So the next question is this lucrative? Everybody's going to assign meaning to the word lucrative or wealth or rich or profitable in so many different ways. I'm from Orange County. Well, I live in Orange County, California. So what's lucrative to me is very different to where I used to live for a year in South Carolina. Okay, so over there, I have no idea. But in other states that don't have such a high cost of living, they think making $100,000 is like, you've made it, right? But here, you couldn't even buy anything for that amount of money. You cannot live here on $100,000. It's very difficult. You'd be in an apartment that wasn't very nice. Okay. So for me, my benchmark for is it lucrative is, can I make 7 figures, which you guys can say I'm greedy or whatever, all of the money issues in your mind above. But this is my frame of reference because I grew up in California. So literally making $1 million is like almost a non-negotiable if you want to breathe and you want to live here. Not that I should or want to live here. I don't know. It's just where I'm born and bred. We haven't left for the farm life yet, which we would like to. But yeah, it's like, is this niche lucrative? So for me, can I make 7 figures in homeschooling? Can I make it with YouTube tips? Obviously, that's what I'm doing, right? Or online courses, business. Yes, obviously. Can I make it in homeschooling? That would be more difficult, right? If my benchmark is 7 figures. For you, if it's $100,000, you can do it in homeschooling. You can probably do $100,000 in revenue for your business in all niches. The other question you have to ask yourself in this category is like, do people pay for transfer transformation. Because if they're just willing to pay to get entertained, it's going to be hard for you to scale if you value your time. You're just going to need to entertain more, right? Feed the beast, like I say. How fast do people grow in this niche on average? If you chose a sticky sub niche, which I did a whole video on basically how to attack a sub niche that will blow you up in any saturated niche, I'll link it up here and down below, then it's going to be easier for you to grow in these more stickier sub niches, which is basically niches that have a very low supply of videos and a high demand. This is where you see like tiny creators going viral and you're like, what the heck? How come they're going viral? It's because there's a huge demand and no supply of videos. So ideally, you're looking for these pockets within your general category and attacking these sticky sub niches. Oftentimes, ChatGPT, for instance, it's not going to know all these nuances about these sub niches. So you have to do actual research on YouTube, which I talk about on that video. So once you've got all your numbers on your sheet, you're now going to start looking for glaring patterns. You want to circle anything, especially that has a high score across passion, potential profit, and time freedom. It's about finding the overlap about what you care about, how you can help people, and also how much money you can logically make within these niches. When I did this, it became very glaringly obvious, like what I needed to do for my family. Not even like, I want to be rich on YouTube. Like literally it wasn't about that. I think that's when I started to make the most amount of money, is when I truly listened to my Christian faith and was reading my Bible more. And it spoke to me, to be very candid, do what's best for your family. Do what's best. I mean, God was telling me, I think, align your business with your deepest priorities and your highest values, and you will be fruitful. You know, you will reap the benefits of basically pursuing God's will. So whether you're religious or not, that is my journey. And I think, obviously, I believe that if you live your life in that way, regardless of your religion, you will not burn out. You're not going to have mental health crises like every other YouTuber, and you're going to consistently and faithfully scale your business one step at a time. But it starts with analyzing like how much time is best for me to feed the beast of my business versus pour into my family at the same time. And that really comes down to what the niche allows for. And really, it's not so much just the niche. It's about picking a business model that aligns with your lifestyle. And I found that it starts by analyzing your priorities, your values, then choosing an income model that supports your niche and your priorities. And so that they're all working together so that you can grow a sustainable business year after year. And so if you guys got value from this video, I hope you did. Like this video, subscribe down below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.